What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for you. I almost put this tweet in with yesterday's video. I chose not to. The reason is I've worked with so many gaming companies, whether it's 505, EA, 2K, Canuck, Axis, just about every football game on the market right now. I've talked to or worked with one of the developers in trying to make their game better. And I've learned a lot during that time frame. And one of the things I learned was how to provide proper criticism. It's not enough to come out and say this game looks like it plays on an N64. Okay, tell me why. What needs to be fixed? Player models, shading, lighting. It's not enough to say, I hate the way this game blocks. I hate the way this game pursues. Okay, show me why. What causes the pursuit to be bad? The player runs at all kinds of different angles? What makes the blocking poor? Oh, players overlap each other? Those are tangible things that you can go back to a game developer and say, listen, I don't know how you program this out, but this doesn't need to be in the game. And in doing that, we hope that the gaming company or the developer or the programmer, whoever you're dealing with, responds in turn with, I agree, and I'm going to fix this. I'm going to do my best to make sure this issue is resolved for you and make the game better for everyone. And that's really what births most of the YouTube gaming channels, is we want a game better. Now, what fractures this relationship is when a company is disrespectful or dismissive to the consumer and says, try again, or thinks that you're attempting to make it personal and not understanding that to some of us it is personal. To some people, we feel EA, not Clint Oldenburg, but EA is responsible for there not being any other competitor in the NFL game space. And years of a poor product as represented by an overall community, go to their Metacritic, which is now 1.6 rated out of 10, people are going to become personally frustrated. It is not fair that it's taken out on Clint. In some ways, he's a victim of circumstance, but he does himself no favors when he responds to people in a negative way. The same way we, as community members, do ourselves no favors when we approach EA negatively. And that's why I try to make every video as constructive as possible. So with that said, this guy, Black Sponge, comes out and does it the exact right way. Now, dismiss some of this, because I know there's only someone that argues if someone's doing it in a game, it's simulation football for them to keep doing it until you stop it. Let's cut the garbage right now. When someone runs the same play over and over and over and over, it is not simulation football. It is game manipulation. And some of us that play this game understand that it goes without saying to go to EA and say this needs to be fixed. A prime example is the Madden Challenge. You have a guy that is subbing a punter in because the punter is left-handed, and the punter has a left handoff animation that is faster than his quarterback that has a right handoff animation. So this tells you that he specifically went out, found a left-handed punter so that he could manipulate the handoff animation because it's faster when a left-handed quarterback hands off to the left side run than it is when a right-handed quarterback does. At that point, to me, you lose the argument of simulation football. Stop the play by moving your linebacker down, pinching your line together, putting your safety in the box. We're beyond that when we're putting in punters for quarterbacks. So this response is what we need to see, I believe. Not want to see, need to see as a community. This guy approaches Clint with a screenshot and basically says, listen, this guy ran the same play every game. Doesn't even disrespect it. Doesn't have to say much other than this is what happens. And then from Clint, we get the response we need. Heard, noted, agree. That's all we need to hear. We don't need to have try again. We don't need to have that sim football. We don't need to have learn to stop it. Heard, noted, agree. Now the next part of this becomes resolved. And resolved is where EA has really struggled. Taking the game and fixing it. We took your feedback, we saw the problem, and now we've created a resolution. Whether it's next year's game, whether it's a patch 4 months after the game comes out, fix the game. You know there's a problem. You're agreeing there's a problem. You have to fix it. And it's so widespread that you can't get it out of your face in your own challenges. That, in and of itself, should show you how broken the game is. Your best players don't resort to football, they resort to manipulating your game. Now, I understand some people will say there's a lot of gaming communities that are like that, and I understand. A lot of gaming communities, though, aren't projecting simulation football the way EA does. They're not making sure they're the only licensed game in the marketplace. And they're not promoting themselves as a NFL tournament with actual NFL players in it. So with that said, if we had this more often, whether the gameplay issues were actually fixed or not, I would feel so much better about where we are as a community in being less toxic. Where we don't feel as gamers, we have to let you know the elementary things wrong in your game. And you as developers don't feel the need to patronize us with responses as if we're taking personal cheap shots at you. We're taking it personal because we take your game personal. We want your game to get better the same way you should. And that sometimes creates emotion, creates frustrations, and creates really discussions that go in a different direction than they should. Like I said, I don't expect Clint to shut down the tournament halfway through and say, we're not going to run this if you're going to have the same play over and over and over. Or you're not allowed to compete if you're going to swap your punter out. But they should look at that and say, how can we make sure this never happens again? Because it's embarrassing to our game, and it makes a mockery of the sport that we're trying to represent. And that is where I think much of the whole John Madden would not agree with where this game is conversation started. And a response like this, rather than try again, would have probably prevented a whole week of Clint being flooded by tweets with people that were upset with how he responded. And not only that, a tweet like this would probably have us feeling like we're getting a lot further to the game being fixed. Because now, at least if nothing else, we know there's some accountability. We know that you heard it, we know that you noted it, and we know that you agree with it. Now we're waiting on you to fix it. Unfortunately, waiting on EA to fix their game has been a 10-year process for many of us. Love to know your thoughts on this. Appreciate you checking it out. And you know I will be back in the week with more commentary.